Hey everybody, welcome back to part 3 of our ongoing video series with the guys from the NBA 2K team. We're talking about the games industry, what it's like to be working in it, how these guys got started, etc., etc., etc. And we're going to get started with part 3 right now, so let's go to our first question. But when it comes to skills and working here at Visual Concepts or just in the gaming industry as a whole, is there anything that, say, an OS member watching this right now, is there any skills that you think are like very important?
Yeah, sorry, Tom. Go
I was gonna say communication.
Yeah,
Seriously, just speaking out and reaching out and making sure you're talking to, if you don't know who to talk to someone who will tell you who to talk to. Because that's helped me out massively.
I think coming from the community that I deal with is a community full of creators, like on the roster side, on the art side, just a bunch of people working all kinds of content for the game. I think it's important, one thing to note is that a lot of them work individually and aren't that willing to cooperate. That would not fly. That would not fly here. Teamwork is so important. None of us here works individually in a vacuum and just gets to do their job and go home and not talk to anyone, not have to work with anyone, not have anyone dependent on them to also do their job. So teamwork is very important, but besides general just communication and being able to work as part of a team, I think it really depends on the job. And we're looking for all kinds of people. We're looking for video production, like John and Eric were familiar with. We're looking for more engineers, like I was familiar with. We're looking for bright basketball minds that will work as part of the gameplay team. So if you have a part of basketball and a talent and a skill set that you can combine, just own that craft, just work at it endlessly and put your work out there, and that's the best you can do.
Just to jump on that, like the culture at 2K kind of lends itself to that kind of communication because everybody's door is always open. Like if you want to talk to Jeff or whoever, you can just run in and say, hey, I got something cool I want to show you. And he'll come over and he'll look at it, he'll give you some criticism. If I want to go talk to Mike, if I want to ask him about something, his door's open, OG's door's open, Lefto's door. I mean, anybody you want to go and talk to, you can just go get up. It's not always about typing out an email. Sometimes you want to get up, go talk to that person face to face.
That's how we get it done.
Yeah.
Is work ethic a skill?
Because I would say it is.
There's passion is huge, and I think Nino alluded to it earlier that they usually go hand in hand. But there's no one in our company who's lazy. And there's no one who does like, oh, I'm putting my 9 to 5 in, I'm out. No one is like that. Like these guys are saying, I look forward, 15 years I've been doing this, and every night I still look forward to playing the game at home when I get home. And so it's like, that's where a lot of stuff just gets done. And watching games, studying the NBA. So it's just a lot of work. So I think people might think, I want to get in games because I like playing games, and I'm just going to play games for a while, and put my 8 hours in, and I'm out. But that will never work. So.
And to Mike's point, as these games and graphically become even better and more detailed, I always say every player is somebody's favorite player and every team is somebody's favorite team. So with you, Mike, saying not working up, it shows. There's no doubt about that because there's so many more eyes in social media and forums and all that kind of stuff. So it's as important as ever.
I know, you guys totally, if you get even just the slightest shade of blue wrong on a sneaker, it's over. I just want you to know that.
Or jersey.
Yeah, or jersey, yeah. If the mesh is wrong, it's all over, just so you know.
That's kind of what Lefto said earlier.
Yeah.
It's like whatever that craft is, whatever aspect of basketball you're really passionate about, that comes through. Like when we saw Eric's videos, we're like, dude, no one on the planet is making videos this good. We got to get this guy. But it's not like, we got him because he knows all his X's and O's like just as well as Nino and Scott. You don't have to know everything about everything, but whatever you do it really well and be passionate about it.
Yeah, I would also say that game development itself is a skill that you have to learn. You have to be able to communicate with experienced game developers to understand that. It's not just I sit in front of the game and I play the game all day. That's a very small percentage of what we actually do. Game development is a skill and it is a job, and there's lots of things you have to learn to do it. So you have to be open to that and open to growing into that aspect as well. Everybody can't do it. Everybody doesn't have the mental focus to do the type of work it takes to do over the extended amount of time it takes to try to make a really good product. And that part is important. You have to be able to focus and lock in.
This question's from Junior Mo on Operation Sports, and you guys have talked about this. You're all fans of 2K, NBA 2K. I would like to think you're all fans of NBA 2K. As fans of the game, how do you balance that between like wanting to do these amazing things, but being constrained by the fact that reality is hitting and you've got only so much time and manpower, et cetera, to do things? How do you guys balance that?
Do you want to go ahead, Mike?
No.
No, it's hard.
It's frustrating.
Right, it is very frustrating. Yeah. You come up. We have what we call a blue sky list, which is the things that are on our roadmap, that are our own ideas and community submitted ideas. When we post calls for ideas, and we can just gather those, and it's like a roadmap that could take us all the way to 2025. And it's so hard to say, okay, we have only this much time on our hands. What can we do for next year's game? Which ideas do we pick? And it's hard because as you work on something, you get more ideas, and you'll have to fight with yourself and with your producers or with your engineers and be like, can we do this? Can we also squeeze this in? But I think we don't just strive for quantity, which we've been very good at. We also strive for quality, and that's where the most frustrating part comes in. It's like we don't want to do something 50%. It's either all or nothing, and we want to put it in and want to have it be great. So it's frustrating, but I think the amount of work we've still been able to do, despite being an annual game and on an annual cycle, I think shows. And we have a lot of very talented people that will take those ideas and squeeze every little bit out of them, and we can still make an amazing game even on a year-to-year basis.
And speaking from the gameplay perspective, I think there's some things, we hear it all the time, stuff like, well, they just need to change their engine, or they just need to rewrite movement. And it's like, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. But sometimes these things, they might take our entire team 3 years to do. And so what we often do is we have a portion of our team working on something very long term that we may not see the payout, and sometimes it doesn't work. So in 3 years, we might have spent, 4 guys their entire work year just on something that won't pay out. So there's a lot of just iterating, and there's a lot of, you just gotta be patient. You gotta understand that some things take time to marinate, they need time to iterate, and it's not just like, yeah, we know the issues. We know all issues.
If you guys would just completely scrap your gameplay engine and just start anew, use real neural networks and just the most advanced AI that's out there. You guys are gonna have the most realistic game of all time.
I'm just right on that.
Yeah. So this question's from Dyslexic Fish. That's a really good name, actually.
We need to start having ratings under these guys' usernames because the amount of creativity here.
Well, just for the record, fish is not spelled fish like F-I-S-H. It's P-H-I-S-H.
Good job, Dyslexic.
Yeah, definitely. I would imagine most, if not all, of the people in the gaming industry join the industry because they love gaming. I would guess that's the case here. I've heard, however, that turning a hobby into a career can have some downsides. Did you feel like this was the case when you went from playing the game you loved to making it? Were there any downsides to it at all?
For me, I know when I used to play the game, I really wasn't as critical of it as I am now. Just like a lot of small things that I see when I'm playing the game and I go home and I play the game, or like a camera will cut and it'll look at the wrong dude, and I'm like, that's broken. But just like really small things like that, where when you don't know what's going on behind, like under the hood, you don't really care as much. But because you're working on a game and you know what should be happening, where it should be happening, it's kind of like, oh, okay, that's broken. We need to.
Yeah, I experienced that too. When you see that, you know that it's broken, and most people are, as critical as some people will be about sneakers or something like that, they'll miss a camera cut or something you know is like, this should not be this way. Anybody else?
For me, it's a double-sided coin in that by putting in so much work and seeing all the rest of the work that goes into the game, I could take it home at the end of the year and be more relaxed about things that might not be just perfect, if they're not obviously broken. But having seen how much work goes into our logic, I can be, I know that there's a very intelligent process going behind it, so I can be more relaxed and be like, I'm not going to pay attention to everything because I'm confident about the quality and I'll just enjoy the game. And on the other hand, if I see something in my work that seems off, I immediately start thinking in code. I start having nightmares in code, and then I have to go in and fix that. It's like it's like Eric said, you can see what's broken with that much more clarity, especially if it's your own work, because you're like, that flag should have been the other way around, and it would have all just worked out perfect. And there's a burnout, you know, like if you work on the game as much as you'll do at the end of the year, you go home and you're like, do I really want to play? But I think what's been surprising to me throughout these years is that I'll work hard throughout the summer. When the game comes out in September, October, I'll still put hundreds of hours on it, just playing. It just hasn't happened with me in the 4 years I've been here. I haven't gotten burned out with NBA 2K, and I'm always excited to see what the other teams have worked on, because I've been so focused on what I've been working on.
For sure. What about you, Screen Mike? We haven't heard from you in a while. Any downside?
Yeah, it's different. There's a lot more sense of responsibility once it becomes your job, as opposed to being a community member where you turn a hobby into a job. You definitely have more responsibility, but as a community member, there's a select amount of people who are able to enjoy your work and use your roster and that kind of stuff for me personally. But working for the company, you're motivated by the millions of people that buy the game and that are enjoying the kind of changes that we make on a daily basis. So I guess it depends what your motivation is. For me personally, I love it because I know the impact I'm making on a bunch of different people and what they do for their free time. So I've loved every second of working here. So I've not had that experience, but it's difficult. The responsibility's there, and the amount of hours that we put in to make sure that we're putting out the best product that we can. It does wear on you, but it's just so much fun. What they were talking about, or what everybody was talking about earlier, how everybody loves working with each other and the team that we have. It's hard to not have fun while you're working. So.
Whatever you're doing, obviously we've mentioned you got to be passionate about it, but you got to stay around. There's a lot of guys that kind of put their foot forward, and yet they don't really get the hit that they're looking for, and then they fall off and they die off. We've seen this with the sim community all over the place.